Look at the last drive. He threw into double coverage, triple coverage the entire game. Double coverage first time. He almost got picked off 3 times in that last drive.
Yep.
If Jacobs does not get the first down, Eli Manning should be sending out one of these. This is a thank you card to Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, because without them, those 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 5s would turn into 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s. And Eli Manning could not do that. Oh, Drake University, the Bulldogs. Minus 1 game.
Which is who?
The 1 game is going to be the Elite 8 against Georgetown, which will be the best matchup in this entire tournament. I will talk about Georgetown. I know you want to talk about Kansas. You're kidding me.
No, I
Roy
wouldn't.
Hibbert came back from. He was going to be picked 6
and their team
in
was
the
better
draft
last year.
He came back to win a national championship this year. Jeff Green, if you show up in the Final Four last year, I had Georgetown to win the championship last year. Jeff Green, you show up in the Final Four last year, you cut down the nets. Georgetown plays the size game. You talk about matchups. No one's matching up with Georgetown. Money Mayweather. His name is Floyd, the best boxer in the world. 39-0. He can fight inside. He can fight outside. You talk about free throws. According to Webster's, here. According to Webster's, our complete word finder, a free throw, let me just read this off to you, an unhindered shot to the basket. If you make it, you win a national championship. If you miss them, see the Memphis Tigers.
That's in the dictionary, really.
See the Memphis Tigers, because if you hit those free throws, you win the national title. I went shopping.
Yeah,
we picked up
CVS.
Tiger Woods Gatorades. Now, we all know Tiger Woods is the favorite to win this thing, and I love the Masters. And the storyline's there. Tiger to pass Arnold Palmer's 5th green jacket. The only thing with Tiger Woods is his putters failed him at Augusta National the last 2 years. If he gets his putter going, no one in the entire earth, even in the studio, can play with him. Or the world. So actually, I've watched all these Celtics games this year, and I've heard the everyone going onto the Kevin Garnett bandwagon. Everyone said this guy's a top 10 player, but this guy's top 3.
Yep.
They led game minutes, 37 minutes. They led in the game. They never felt like they had momentum. They never felt in a rhythm. They never felt like they had this game, Scott. The Giants took advantage of staying close and then getting and taking the lead late. I talked to Jim Furyk's agent, Kenny Davis, and he's
has your
using,
name on it.
and he's
How about
using. I hate to say this, I had to break this the first one on Sportsmanlike, but he's using Juice Nike golf balls in his practice rounds to see if he's getting comfortable with them for Augusta National. Jim Furyk has a chance. He finished 14th last year, coming off a back injury with a nice stroke. The greens are going to be soft, but you got to look at Roy Williams. Roy Williams in the tournament, he has not won with his boys, as I call it. He won with Matt Doherty's boys when first year of North Carolina. He hasn't won with his boys. They chose against Georgetown. It's a team that should be winning. They should go far. You have them far. I have them far. But when it's clutch time, can Roy Williams is the question. They're loaded with depth. They've had injuries the entire year. They've gone through them.
Are they good enough to beat Tennessee?
They are good enough to beat Tennessee, but can Roy Williams be the coach that leads them to that? What you were going to say, North Carolina, about balance.
I love Roy Williams.
We're going to talk about Roy Williams. I went on the show 2 weeks ago. I said Roy Williams can't win with his boys. He did. He got out-coached. This Kansas team was a more balanced team. They had Arthur, Jackson, Chalmers, and Rush were the best backcourt in the nation, period. They squashed the Tar Heels. So you have to say that they're better. Most balanced team, that's why they won. Because this was the greatest offense ever in the history of sports. Every year, Belichick, the same thing. You're measured by if you win the Super Bowl. Everything else is a failure. Yes, they had a great season. They broke a lot of records, but it's still a failure. Okay. You're going to say the Yankees went to the World Series in 2001. Were they a dynasty?
So is that motivation for them, or does that mean their run's over?
Of course it's motivation. Okay. Look, I have to say this. They were 18-1. That's a perfect. It's not a perfect season. That's a great season.
It's an imperfect season.
But Romeo Crennel and Charlie Weiss are not coming through that door. You had Steve Spagnuolo out-coach Josh McDaniels. As Belichick was with his back, the offense was awful. The screenplay was drawn every offensive possession. It's unacceptable. No deep ball, no adjustments made. Charlie Weiss is the master of adjustments. You come out in the second half, you score right away if you're a Charlie Weiss offensive club. They did nothing.
It worked
like
for 18
that. Where was Seymour? Where was Brewski? Where was Vrabel? All the guys who were great in those Super Bowls and those guys was not mentioned once in the Super Bowl. Greatest offense ever assembled in the history of football. 18-0 coming into this game. The Giants were 10-6. The Patriots were 16-0 in the regular season. That's a 6-game difference. Greatest in Super Bowl history. The Patriots scored 589 points to the Giants 373. 216-point difference. Greatest in Super Bowl history. Were a boycott of the Moscow Olympics. That was a tragedy to these athletes, men and women who train their entire lives, who have nothing to do with these riots, nothing to do with the China laws of riots in Tibet, nothing to do with this. Their opportunity, their destiny to lead their country in the opening ceremonies, in Olympic Games, are taking away. That is wrong. One word on the ties, silk. And the team that's going to the Final Four from that region is going to be the Memphis Tigers. They're 33-1. I mean, everyone talks about their record. They can hit free throws. They were 62% from the line. They're 60 this year. There's not that big of a difference. You have CDR equals MVP in my eyes. The most athletic team, best starting 5 in the country. Touchdowns to interception ratio, Brady was +42. Eli +3.
So you're saying this is a better Super Bowl?
+39. greatest
A better upset
ever.
than.
And the guy brought that big, huge old thing of cheese, and he took it out, and it was all beers. And he's like, "How about a baguette?"
Yeah.
Closes the thing, and the
Wouldn't you
ball
like
comes
one
out.
of those?
Okay. Budweiser had the best commercials. The Patriots dynasty is over. We went into Christmas break having Roger Federer as the one-man dynasty in tennis. You had the Celtics couldn't lose a game, and the Patriots looked absolutely unstoppable. Now we come back a month removed. The Patriots lost. Roger Federer lost the Australian Open, and the Celtics are not going to win that 70 games that everyone wanted. Sports is just interesting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Played Kansas real tough, and we'll get to Kansas later. But they lost. Talking about Kansas, they're cement solid. They won 20 straight games to jump out, and they're the most popular vote to win the tournament besides UNC. You look at Brandon Rush, he leads this team. Arthur, the big man down low, averaging 14-7, won the Big 12 tournament against the Texas team we just talked about. Very strong. I think it's the easiest road if we're talking about getting to the Final Four. I know you haven't watched the game, and you probably don't even know where Drake is, Dan. But this is the best shooting team in the tournament. No one's seen this team. You go to Drake, you have Josh Young, who shoots 45% from threes. You had Leonard Houston going 14-5. I think UConn's weak. I think they're overrated because they play in the Big East. That's the pick to go in this region. UCLA is going to be number one. Definitely. But any team can knock off UCLA, or a team that can knock off a number one seed. It's Drake based on their shooting. I know they're weak inside, but they can shoot the three ball. Everyone on that starting five can shoot. That's why they have a chance.
This seems like
It's a Georgia piece right there.
right here. Yeah.
Oh, Pittsburgh burning out. What's Georgia?
Georgia
Georgia has nothing to lose, everything to gain. The worst seed out of the Big Five conferences in the history of the NCAA tournament. They get blown out, they get blown out. But if they win a game against an Xavier team who is very weak, that's my pick of the tournament, the upset of the tournament.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia, because they have nothing to lose. They're going to go right at Xavier. It was more of a Memphis loss than a Kansas win, Scott. You had CDR, my guy for MVP. I picked Memphis to win, my pick to click. But he couldn't hit his free throws. Derrick Rose couldn't hit his free throws. You hit your free throws, Chalmers, you don't even get a chance to hit a three-pointer. Arthur's 20 points is a race. Kansas doesn't get there. It's an Oxford dictionary. If you go and you find free throws, look at CDR with 10 seconds left. You have 3 opportunities. Hit 1 free throw. 4 points, that's a 2-possession ball game. Golden State beat them surprisingly easily. You look at the Dallas team, I know Ian talked about, they are the only team in the playoffs that will be in the playoffs, I think, instead of Golden State, with a losing record on the road. Dirk Nowitzki's back. The Rockets are out. Yao Ming's out. You look at the Suns. I think they beat the Lakers. They're going to match up really well against the Suns. You have Amari Stoudemire taking out Gasol. You have Shaquille taking out Bynum. Switch to the Eastern Conference real quick. You got the 4 teams. You got the Cavs, the Magic, the Pistons, and the Celtics all advancing. I don't see any problems there. The Pistons beat the Magic based on they beat them twice already, and once close they lost in Orlando. And then you look at the Celtics. They're going to get by LeBron. LeBron took down Detroit. Last year, the Celtics are just too good of a team to let that happen. So now you got the Pistons and the Celtics. Everyone's been talking about this matchup. The Celtics with the home court advantage. I don't see them losing because of the home court. I don't see them losing 4 games. Okay. The other reason I don't see them losing is because of one guy, the coach of Detroit. Now, I was a Kevin Garnett fan before, way before all this bandwagon business. I'll pull out my jersey. All before
jersey to prove
the
it.
entire
is that a
Celtic,
kid-sized jersey?
Celtic bandwagon. I can't even put it up right now.
All right.
But Flip Saunders is one of the worst coaches in the playoffs. The Celtics have it because they can outscore people. They can play sick defense. They are the best team in the league, period. This is how I look at it. June, you make sure all your players are healthy. No pitchers are being overworked. You have all the guys rested, ready to go. July 1st, you start the acceleration button because it's a long season. The cream rises to the top, Scott. Yankees, and they're a second-half team, and I hate to disagree with you, but they were 9-14 at the end of April. You look at the second half of the year, they were 26 games over 500, made the playoffs.
Did that get them anywhere
easily.
in the playoffs?
The Red Sox are a team built for the playoffs with Beckett. I don't even understand why Beckett pitched this last game. He should have another 1-2 starts down the Myers. There is no rush right now. The Vikings play at Denver, which is always a tough place to play. You watch the Arizona Cardinals come in with their offense. Look at their schedule the rest of the way. They got at New Orleans, then they got home against Atlanta, the Vickless Falcons, and you got the Rams at home. Those are 3 wins. Forgetting that the Rose Bowl is USC's home stadium. Second biggest fight in history. Boxing is back. Biggest fights ever in the history of sports.
Listen, that fight.
UFC does not do the pay-per-view buys as boxing does. LA, they smoked, and they smoked Denver. They're beating teams by an average of 15 points a game. You got to talk about Toronto. They beat Toronto twice. The combined record, you guys are talking about weak schedules. The Celtics are the opponents are +3. They're 3 games over 50%, 500. That's a good team. Now I'm saying they're playing all the best teams, but that's a good schedule so far. 21-6 at halftime. Patriots look like they're going to walk away with it. Colts came back. A die scored touchdown with 1 minute left. Everyone knew Brady was going to get the ball. What was he going to do with it?